Hello again, it's Ivy. Welcome back to my channel, and today I'm going to be doing my October wrap-up. In the month of October I read 9 books, which that's incredible. That's a great amount, I feel like. And so here we go. First one is The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue by Mackenzie Lee. This is about 3 people, Percy, Monty, and Monty's sister Felicity, on an adventure throughout Europe, and Monty is the narrative. I listened to this one on audiobook, which if you haven't listened to it on audiobook, I highly suggest you do because it was incredible. Monty has sticky fingers and he steals something from the palace, which causes people to chase them on their journey throughout Europe, and it turns out that this is not only historical fiction, it's paranormal, and you'll find a lot of cool aspects, and also it is bisexual representation, as Monty is in love with his best friend Percy, who is also a black male, and he suffers from epilepsy. So there's good representation in this book as well. It is incredibly hilarious. Like, Monty is a great narrative. Like, he will keep you on your toes, this one. So definitely listen to the audiobook of this one. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. This chair is all creaky. Next up, I read Meddling Kids by Edgar Cantero, and this one was told to me as a Scooby-Doo meets Stranger Things, which I really didn't get like Stranger Things vibes, but I did get Scooby-Doo vibes. And it's about these kids who used to be basically like detectives in their town. Now they're adults, and it's telling the story of when they were kids, like flashes back, but they're adults now, and they're finding out that the horrors of their childhood are still haunting them, and they go back to the place where they were sleuthing. They find out that the person that they captured that they thought was haunting the house is actually just kind of like I don't want to say a cover-up, but they find out that the house actually really does have creepy aspects to it, that somebody is really haunting those lands, and they go back to try to solve the mystery again. And as one trigger warning for suicide in this one, as one of their friends committed suicide, they're one shore, and they're also haunted by that. I'm not giving a very good description of this one, I'm sure you can tell. I didn't really enjoy it. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. It just kind of fell a little flat for me. I was expecting a lot more from it, and I didn't see that, so that's unfortunate because this cover is super cool. Next up, in the month of October, I read Daughter of Smoke and Bone by Laini Taylor, and I listened to that one on audiobook. I don't have a physical copy of that one. It starts off with Carew, who she collects teeth for her father figure named Brimstone, and return she gets wishes. That to me is a really unique plot. That's not the whole plot, obviously, but that's where it starts off, and I gave that book a 3 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed Carew's part of the story, but once we got to the other half of the story, we got introduced to Madrigal, and her part of the story fell flat for me, so I really didn't enjoy that one too much, but I still want to continue on with the story and see where the next book will lead. Next up is The Dreadful Tale of Prospero by Alexandra Bracken. This is my first Alexandra Bracken book, and it is a middle grade. It's definitely spooky vibes, great for the month of October, and it is about a boy named Prospero Redding, and he is inhabited by a demon because way back his great-great-great-grandfather made a deal with a demon, and he of course didn't abide by it, so now the demon has come back to collect, and he is living through Prospero Redding, trying to figure out how he's going to get rid of the demon that is living inside of him. It's funny. It's a good middle grade. I didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. I gave it a 2.75 stars. I still am going to continue on with the series when the next book comes out. I thought I was going to like it a little bit more. It took me way longer to read than I thought it was going to for a middle grade. I don't know if I was just busy or what, and maybe that's why I only gave it a 2.75 out of stars, because a lot of people really did like this one. But I still enjoyed it, just not as much as I thought I was going to. Next up on audiobook, I listened to The Apprentice Witch, and it is a middle grade about a little girl who is a witch who fails her test to be a witch, and she goes off on this journey, and she figures out that she can read these runes, and she's not really quite sure what they mean, and so she's trying to solve like why she can read them, and she finds out that there were other people in the past that could also read them, and some things had happened to them, so it is about her journey through that. Yeah, I also really didn't enjoy that one. I gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. So I'm coming to the conclusion that when I didn't enjoy books too much, that I just kind of put them out of my head, and I can't really remember what happened because I read a lot of books, so I only got enough space in my brain for the ones that I really enjoyed. I read Sleepy Hollow by Washington Irvin and other short stories, and my favorite one in this collection was Rip Van Winkle. I think I gave that one a 3 out of 5 stars, but overall I gave this one only a 1 star. I'm not really big on classics. I feel like his writing was just, by the end of the paragraph, not even the paragraph, by the end of the sentence I was like, I don't even know what I read or what he said. His sentences are like run on and run on and run on and run on. So yeah, this one was a no for me. Next up, I read My Best Friend's Exorcism by Grady Hendrix, and this is one of my favorite books that I read this year. It is about a girl named Abby, and her best friend Gretchen becomes possessed, and people don't want to see it. Like, Abby is like, something is wrong with her, and everybody just kind of thinks Abby is the one to blame, that she got Gretchen into drugs, and then Gretchen was depressed, and then she has a total 180. Instead of being dirty and smelly like she was coming to school, she is back to her old self and all pretty and flowery again. Abby is the only one who's like, no, there is something wrong. Gretchen starts doing bad things and hurting a lot of people, and Abby is like, I know my friend is still in there and I want to save her. So this book is described as The Exorcism meets Beaches, and as if Tina Fey was the narrator of The Exorcism, which I can agree to that one. This one was really funny, but it was also scary, but it was also about true friendship. Abby wants to help Gretchen get better. She wants to help get rid of this demon, so she calls an exorcism to come and help her take care of the problem. And so to me, this book not only was about, you know, being a horror story and a comedy, it was about real friendship and being there for your friends through thick and thin. Like, I laughed, I cried. Definitely a 5-star read for me. I recommend this, probably one of my #1 books that I recommend this year. So definitely, if you have the chance and you're interested, also this cover is to die for, pick this one up. You won't regret. Next book was a reread for me, which I reread on audio, and that is 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. This is a book about 6 outcasts that get together on this heist to go steal this man from the most locked up, I guess you could say, like, locked up city, like it's highly guarded, who created this drug, Judah Param, which they feed to Grishas, and it makes them really dangerous. It makes them extremely powerful, and these kids all get together on this heist to go get this man for the person that hired them. And at first when I read this, I gave it a 4 stars. I physically read it, and then when I listened to the audiobook, I bumped it up to 5 stars because the audiobook is just so enticing. Like, it's one of my favorite audiobooks. Like, if you're looking for an audiobook, I definitely recommend starting with 6 of Crows by Leigh Bardugo. Then last on my list, I wanted to go with a horror story for Halloween, so I read this one on the day of Halloween, and that was Carrie by Stephen King, which actually really wasn't that scary. Like, I wasn't really scared. I just really hated Carrie's mama. She is such a you know what, and I'm like, this woman is crazy. And I really felt bad for Carrie. Like, it starts off with her getting her period at school in the gym shower, and she doesn't even know what a period is, and she thinks she's bleeding to death, and all the girls are just so cruel, and they start throwing toiletries at her and pads and tampons at her, and that is really where the story picks up. And you just get to see Carrie, her power just grow to an extreme. She has telekinesis, and after this she's like, you know what, I had enough of you people. And I'm sure everybody knows about Carrie or seen the film, and you know, they're all gonna laugh at you, which she gets the pig's blood dumped on her. So this girl, she put up with a lot, and then she had enough, and it was a good read. I enjoyed it. This 2 out of 5 stars. It wasn't a horrible book, but it also wasn't the best book that I ever read, but I did enjoy it. And God, I just hated Carrie's mom. I did. She was awful. Ugh. Those are the 9 books that I read this month, and my favorite book of the month was probably my best friend's Exorcism, definitely, or my reread of Six of Crows. But my favorite new book that I read was my best friend. Oh, or The Gentleman's Guide to Vice and Virtue. That was a 5-star read for me as well. That one was really, really good. Yeah, apparently I can't choose. So thank you guys for watching, and I hope you have a great day. Bye.